Hold on. I want to see your face.
I want to see your pretty face too. How do we do? Is it recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I feel a little bit like a pop star.
You are a pop star.
Who needs Brittany? It's Brittany, bitch. It's Casey, bitch. All right.
Oh, you guys. Welcome to Wanna Grab Coffee. We've got Casey Calkins today, one of my besties for the resties. We have been dreaming. She's been helping me dream about this podcast for a very long time, right?
Yeah. We've been talking about it for a while.
Too long.
Yeah, but it's fun to dream.
It is fun to dream. So the dream is finally coming to life, and what a perfect first guest to have here today. It feels so funny to be talking to you with a microphone in front of my face. Because usually it's audio messages.
Well, that's the mode of communication nowadays between us.
Yes. If it is in person, we're always getting interrupted by kids.
Absolutely.
Or we're just like stuffing our faces with a good sandwich or, some coffee or something. Today we've got sleepy time tea because we can't handle any caffeine past our first cup.
Heyo. It's late enough in the morning that I can't have any more coffee.
Oh, but Casey is doing amazing things these days. I know you probably heard in my intro, but she's got an amazing business that she's started. She has quite the past experience professionally. Do you want to just give us like a snippet of where you've been to this point?
Yeah. So first off, I'm a mom of two.
Yes, that's important to.
I have two kiddos. My son is 10 and my daughter is 7. And sidebar, one of the things I love is that our kids get along so well.
I know, it's the best.
I know we've said that before, but there's something really special about when you have families that your kids just genuinely enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
And I think it's also particularly rare when you find that with families with the kids are not the same gender too.
Yeah.
So it's like really special.
Because we have like a million girls between the two of us.
Yeah. I mean, there's
and then there's your sweet oldest.
Yeah. And then there's my sweet oldest boy. But my background professionally, I spent my entirety of my career, 20 years working in sales. And about 10 years ago, I pivoted over to the world of tech.
Mm-hmm.
And it was there that I got the experience in sales leadership, and I absolutely loved it. I really fell into sales like so many of us do because I was that personality that I was a psych major and soc major in college, and I just love human behavior and how people's brains work, but also how they interact with one another in different situations. And then you combine that with being a former athlete, and I definitely like fit the mold, right? That like so many companies look for in their salespeople.
Yeah. And I would say too, so our paths, my husband and Casey and her husband all went to college together. Our paths crossed and we became friends because of that relationship. Yes. Thank the Lord. And then, we then crossed paths again because when you were working, you guys were newly married. We were newly married. I was teaching. You were working in sales roles. And then you had challenged me to take an account management role in tech, to move from teaching to tech. And that completely changed my life. But it will say like you were part of the reason that I decided sales was a good thing because I feel like the visual or the idea of sales that people have is like a skeezy used car salesman.
Oh, for sure.
Like a mustache and he's trying to sell you just a pile of shit with some lipstick on it.
Yeah.
And because I know you and your character and the way you go about life and the way you see things, that for me was like, oh, there's good salespeople that care about their customers and want to provide them with good resources. And that felt better to me than like trying to like push a sale that wasn't necessary, those types of things.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I'm responsible for your pivot into sales and into tech, and also therefore responsible for this crazy rat race that is the experience of sales and tech. Sorry for bringing that on to you. Anyway, I spent the entirety of my career in sales and sales leadership. Last 10 years in tech. The last just shy of 7 years were at Salesforce. So big corporate tech.
Yes.
And somewhere along the way, COVID and dealing with chronic migraine most of my life, like my health kind of forced me to take a really hard look in the mirror at my life in general in 2021. And we can get into that. But I had a moment in 2023, so actually 2 years after my health crisis, that I was just like, you know what? I just don't feel like the way I'm living my life right now is a fit for what I want for my life. And I left. I, like a crazy person. I'd love to say that I've never done that in a job before, but I actually have.
But that's so brave.
Peace out, this isn't working. And then I have no clue what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I've done it once before and it was in my mid-20s.
Okay.
I had a quarter life crisis.
Is that when you went to Nordstrom?
Uh-huh.
You left financial planning, right?
So I had been in finance for the earliest part of my career. I initially started in financial planning and wealth management. So did a lot of securities, life insurance, got all of those licenses and everything. But at that point, I had actually moved into more of a B2B space in finance. So I was working as a wholesaler for a brokerage firm.
Okay.
And I needed a change and I didn't know how I was going to find change.
Yeah.
And so I just resigned. Oh, wait, no, that wasn't then. No, I know. Sorry. Let me back up. When I left the job, it was when I was first manning in financial planning.
Okay.
And then I went to Nordstrom and I also got a job at an architecture firm and tested out marketing a little bit when I was working at the architecture firm. But then I just was I was selling at Nordstrom and it was a blast.
Yeah.
And then I decided I need more of a big girl job. So I went back into finance and that's when I was in brokerage and in wholesaling.
Got it.
I have this thing where I'll be like, can't do this. And then I'll try something else. I'll be like, well, maybe I need to be more serious. Anyway.
I think the through line here is sales, but then also ambition.
Oh,
and I think that you are a highly ambitious person. And I know that we've traveled our careers together, even though they've been at different, different places and different, levels of influence and those types of things. But I think that we're leading to what you were talking about in 2021 is just a complete burnout, both physically, mentally, all those things. So let's maybe touch on what does burnout look like for a highly ambitious woman? What was going on for you in 2021 where the lead up to where you were at? Was there a role change? I know you mentioned you had chronic migraines. What brought you to the point of I just can't?
Yeah. So I first want to say, I think burnout is an overused term.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is assumed that it's just people overuse it in the sense of oh, I'm just burnt out. But I think there's something that happens beyond burnout that can actually get really, really actually scary, both mental and physical health wise. So
it's a chronic, is it a chronic stress?
Chronic, constant, it's this constant cortisol in your system that can result in some really scary things happening. Mm-hmm. So I think the warning signs for me started in 2020 during the pandemic. I was parenting 2 kids at home, 4-year-old and a 2-year-old at home.
Moment of silence for those of us who worked at home with our tiny children in tow, learning from home.
I mean, the amount of days that I had the dual monitors and I had my 2-year-old on my lap and she was watching Daniel Tiger on one monitor and I was running a team meeting on the other monitor. It was a wild time. So I think that naturally put all of us in a different place. And so I was feeling some of the signs and then I got a promotion in the middle of 2020, which was great, but it also had some imposter syndrome and the feelings of stress that kind of sometimes naturally go along with that experience.
But now you're doing it in 2020 when Salesforce has been in person every day up until that point for all of time.
Totally.
And now you're figuring out how to manage a team remotely How do you do that during a pandemic?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because this is a little bit of a sidebar, but you mentioned Salesforce was always in person. I have always been someone that's like, my work stays at work and my home life is at home. And it was a real trip to have all of my roles in my life mesh into one big giant melting pot.
Yeah.
And now you also add on the role of I'm a preschool teacher too, right? I literally am getting assignments from the teachers that it's like, I'm having to teach letters and numbers and all. Oh my God.
And not all of us want to teach
I
our
don't
kids.
want to teach my kids.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I love all of you who are homeschool teachers. Bless you. I am not that person.
Yeah. And that's okay. If we're not that person, you have so many other strengths for your kids, and your kids will not ever feel the weight of like, oh, my mom didn't want to teach me at home. Like, no, my mom's good at all these other things.
That was not my gift.
Yeah.
So I think that the roles converging was actually when things started to get really crazy, because it became so easy to be just like jumping on a call whenever, or to be thinking about work all hours of the day and thinking about parenting all hours of the day too. And then my migraines started getting really bad towards the end of 2020. And no surprise here, one of my triggers is stress, along with other triggers too.
Can you describe what your migraines were prior to getting bad? Like, how frequent were they? What kind of pain was it?
So prior to them getting really bad, I would get kind of your conventional migraine where you have like a little bit of vision loss. I would lose vision in my left eye, and that's how I would know a migraine was coming. Or I'd get like the crescent flashing light, and then it would about 15 minutes later be pain that would be onset. I would get those probably before, and I'm talking like I started getting these in my 20s. I'd get them, gosh, maybe 3 times a quarter, like every other month. I would get one, right? But I would occasionally have these other weird episodes that I didn't get diagnosed as being migraine until my late 20s, and they would actually they would show up like a stroke. So I would have things like numbness in my face.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
Like, yeah, it was super scary. And numbness in my face, or like my husband used to say, like, I can tell you're about to get a migraine because I would have a foot drag while I was walking, or things like that. And it was just kind of weird.
And you're a very
healthy person.
You're very active. You always have been. You eat healthy. You you don't drink often.
For the most part. Yeah, I love in and out on occasion. But I mean, to the point that at 26, my husband actually took me to the ER thinking I was actually having a stroke episode. And that was when I was first diagnosed with what they called hemiplegic migraines.
Okay.
Which are a very rare type of migraine that it's essentially you're having a migraine, but it's presenting itself like a stroke.
So it's impacting other parts of your nervous system.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's kind of my history of migraine. Now, by the time my migraines got really bad in probably the fall of 2020, I was having some sort of a migraine attack between 5 and 6 days a week, like a lot. It was bad. And I was having to, and because remember, my worlds are all converging. So it's like, I'm having to either power through it or lay down for an hour because it's so bad, and then get back at it. So that was kind of the start of it.
And then, and you've got this external stress too of your kids being home, and the expectations I'm sure that you put on yourself to show up for them. Plus, your working environment, you're out of the house, separating those two. Your kids are at daycare and or grandma's house or school.
Yeah. And
you no longer have that separation. So everything is converging, and cortisol is just like through the roof.
Through the freaking roof. I read a book in late 2020 called Burnout. It's literally just called Burnout. I can't remember the authors. It's
That's
two
right.
sisters.
We'll link it in the show notes.
It's two sisters.
Do you remember that one podcast episode? I'll link the episode too. Wasn't it with Brene Brown? Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Oh my God. I think Unlocking Us got me through the pandemic.
Dude, Brene Brown. She's our girl.
Love her.
Brene, we love you.
Salute to you, Brene.
We talk about you too much.
Also, loving your new rebrand and your new direction into coaching. Big fan of it. Taking a sip because it's a proper cheers only if you take a sip.
So unlocking us and burnout.
So I read this book and it talked about how what happens to your body physically when you're under this state of constant chronic stress is that your body goes into flight or fight, fight, or
freeze.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And in primal days, that would last a moment.
Yep.
And then it would be done. Mm-hmm. But in today's world, and particularly I think COVID changed this because technology, now our computers for work came into our homes. Even when we were working in tech at house.
And it's on our phones.
Yep. Even when we were working at house in tech.
Yeah, they did not let us take anything home.
Everything stayed at the office.
Yeah.
So
I love that actually.
You had a forced boundary in your life.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened and we're like, wait a minute, we can work anywhere? That means we can work everywhere.
Yeah.
And all the time.
And then we just went off the cliff.
And and it was like went off the rails.
Yeah.
But the implications of that were we're constantly in this cortisol rush. And also there's also a lot of feel-good hormones that happen when you have a spike in like a high stress environment.
Yeah.
Adrenaline is a big one. And it kind of, there's a little bit of a rush that goes with it, but unless you complete the cycle, and completing the cycle looks like either an emotional experience, like a really good cry, or exercise. But the key that they talk about with this is exercise that has an emotional release to it.
Oh.
So even if it's not crying, it's something that you feel emotionally connected to the activity that you're doing. So that's why some of the best exercise you can do is things that you actually thoroughly enjoy at some point. People talk about the importance of a runner's high. People talk about things like loving a dance class.
Yeah.
Right? And feeling connected to your body in that kind of way. That's really what it comes down to as well. So that kind of like planted the seed in my head of like, maybe I'm a little burnt out, you know?
But would you say that that stress became at any point, do you feel like it was like maybe addictive or it had
at that point, no.
to be?
At that point, no.
Yeah. But in general, with your stress, obviously with the migraines, I'm sure that maybe not obviously, did that get your brain thinking like this cannot be healthy with the frequency of these migraines?
Totally. Yeah. I did start to think like, okay, this isn't sustainable. So I was actually forced to, thank goodness I worked for an incredible supportive company. I took a leave of absence because all of the medications, I saw my neurologist and they were like, look, the kinds of meds we need to put you on, they're not going to start actually working for 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So I took a leave of absence at that point to just like get better. And I was like, good, this is going to get better. Right.
Which let's pause for a second. I learned so much from your example of doing that because the way I saw you as a professional in the professional realm was like, you are just driving, like full force all the time. She is a force to be reckoned with. And you still are. You're still very, very ambitious. You drive like exponentially. And I used to think like, damn, is she ever going to is she just going to keep going?
Where's her limit?
Like? Yes. Where's her limit? And then when you took the leave of absence and you started caring for yourself and you took your medical condition seriously, I thought, whoa, this really like realigns it challenges my way of thinking about leave. Because I think for a lot of us, especially women, we're like, oh, leave comes when you have a baby. Like, of course you leave your job for a little bit and you take that medical leave. But other leave is like, what is that for like old people who are, like need, have severe medical conditions or whatever. But really there's a lot of reasons for leave. There's, bereavement. There's your like a serious medical condition. There's chronic stress where you just need a break and you cannot sustain any longer. And so I just want to like normalize or challenge, I guess, if you're listening or watching, that if there is a leave that needs to be taken or somebody else maybe in your department or something, like that we have grace and maybe understanding or try to understand what that person is going through, because it's not like a taboo thing. It's very healthy and necessary. It's part of your benefits. It's part of what you work hard for.
Yeah. And I'll be the first. And there's other stuff like with me taking that with my neurologist, like other things with scans and just, it was really a hard time in general. But I really struggled with that decision to take a leave of absence because candidly, I fully was one of those people that judged others for taking a leave. Like I did. And it was like, guess they just can't hang.
Yeah.
There's this pervasive undercurrent in corporate culture that if you're taking a break,
yes,
there is something wrong, either I don't want to say wrong with you, but you can't hang, or maybe
your
maybe it's actually
maybe
it's a performance issue.
Yep.
Maybe it's actually a performance issue that you're trying to avoid. Right?
Or maybe you just don't care enough.
Or maybe you just don't, maybe you're just not invested enough.
Or moms feel the need. I know I do. Even now when I request PTO, I'm like, oh, it's because my kids are out of school. But you know, in the last year, I've been like, no, it's because I want a day off because I feel stressed, or because I just need a day to myself and all my kids are in school.
Yeah.
That's also okay. Like on a micro setting. Keep going.
Yeah. So I took some time, and it took me quite a while to get okay with it.
Yeah.
And a lot of conversations with my husband. And so anyway, I took some time off and I came back. And I was feeling so enthusiastic. It was a new fiscal year. I was like, we're going to get after this. I was working under a new leader. I had a new team, fresh start. Here we go. And then about a month in, my aunt dies. And that. My aunt I was very close with her. She never had children of her own. My sister and I were like her kids.
Yeah.
And I was involved with my parents with going through her things and all that kind of stuff. And I was at lunch with my folks one day, and I got up to use the restroom, and I all of a sudden lost muscle coordination and control in my body, starting in my feet, moving all the way up. It was like I wilted like a flower.
That is terrifying.
While I'm walking. And I could not move. It was like temporary full body paralysis, but I'm conscious the entire time.
Oh my God.
And I felt, I described it to my parents like I was magnetized to the ground. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
And they were like, can you move this? And I was like, no, I can't move. So eventually, a good Samaritan called the paramedics, who came, and I kept saying like, I just need my migraine medicine. I assumed it was a migraine. So the paramedics come, they're asking me a bunch of questions, and this could get into a whole other slew conversation, a sidetrack about medical trauma, and also about women and how much we are not believed in the medical community.
Yeah.
Because I was having all these paramedics look at me like, wait, you really can't feel that? They made me feel, I describe it, I can laugh about it now a little bit, but I felt a little bit like they were assuming I was Ricky Bobby in Talladega Nights where he swore he was paralyzed, and then he stuck a steak knife in his leg to try. Do you remember this?
No, I forgot about that. I mean, I haven't seen the movie.
Okay, so in Talladega Nights, he has this pretty traumatic car crash, and he becomes convinced that he's paralyzed, but he's not actually paralyzed. It's all in his head.
Yeah.
And it becomes like the mission of his friends to prove to him that he's not paralyzed. And he is so convinced at one point that he's paralyzed that he decides to prove to his friends that he is by sticking a steak knife in his leg. And he obviously feels the pain. And that's when he realizes he's not paralyzed. Oh. So I felt like that character in that moment. Like,
oh my God.
Like I was not, like it was in my head.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I had them saying like, well, we need to figure out if this is a migraine or is this a panic attack or what's going on. So anyway, I go to the hospital, and this is COVID. So like, my husband can't come in with me. I'm all by myself. God. He sat in the car. I feel for him. He sat in the car for like 6 hours waiting for me to be released. My parents brought him pizza and beer and just sat with him. They took shifts sitting with him in the car.
Oh my God.
But when I was in the hospital, they ran a CT scan. CT scan came back clear. And they basically were like, well, we don't really know what happened. But just go home and follow up with your neurologist. So I, to make a very long story short, I followed up with my neurologist, and they basically were like thinking about my health history and everything in these hemiplegic episodes. And they were like, you know what? You're 36. This is really weird. We need to do some follow-ups. So I had follow-ups to rule out epilepsy, ruled that out. And then they asked to do a follow-up scan of my heart, which felt very weird
Yeah.
because and then they were like, well, maybe you had a panic attack. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, I've had panic attacks before. I know what that feels like. This was not that. And the heart scan revealed that I had a congenital heart defect that 1 in 4 people actually have going into adulthood, which is, it's scary, but it's also not scary. So between 20 and 25% of the population has this. And essentially, it's called a patent form anomaly. So in the upper 2 chambers of your heart, every baby is born with a hole.
Okay.
And it closes up within the first few weeks of birth, after birth.
Mm-hmm.
In 20 to 25% of people, that never closes up. And in my case, and the problem with that is, if there are other factors in your environment, in your lifestyle, or other genetic or physical factors, it can result in hormones, chemicals, and embolisms passing directly through to your brain, because that's the part of your heart that passes oxygen, everything to your brain. They took care of closing up this hole in my heart. Thank God it's no longer an open heart procedure. They can do it in the cath lab like a stent. And I later found out through subsequent scans, through subsequent MRIs, that it was in fact a cerebellar stroke that happened. The CT scan in the hospital, I learned so much through this. CT scans only show major brain bleeds. They don't show smaller strokes, particularly cerebellar strokes, because they tend to be delayed in their displaying on a scan.
But how much time passed between, there was a long time that passed between
not knowing,
we need to fix your heart, we fixed it, and then figuring out that it was actually a stroke. So like how much time was
So the first of all, there's the time frame between the episode and actually figuring out the hole in my heart, right? So that was probably like about a month before we figured that out. And then, because once they found that, the team was basically like, we don't have time for another MRI. We just need to take care of this. We don't even know what happened, but we've got to figure this out. So I didn't actually find out the confirmation of the cerebellar stroke until a year later, when I had a follow-up MRI, when they were like, oh gosh, you haven't had an MRI for like 2 years. Did you not have one after the event? And I was like, they did it in the hospital. I don't know. So we did a subsequent one, and then it showed what's called an old infarct, which is a funny word, but it means an old stroke. And they then were like, did you ever have anything else? They're like, well, they concluded that's when it happened.
Oh my God. So then you're like rethinking everything.
Oh yeah, because here's the deal. Because I didn't have that formal diagnosis of it being a stroke, I honestly thought I was crazy for a while. I really had, but I did. I had this thought in my head of maybe it was just a panic attack. And I basically, shortly after it happened, that was when I really wrestled with whether or not I should go take another leave of absence. Remember, I had just come off of a leave of absence.
Yeah. Okay, wait. So let's talk about that, because I was just thinking, when all of this, you're at the height of the medical drama, like not drama, but like the issues that you're dealing with, all the scans, the now we know stroke, all of those things. Are you still working at this time?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I mean, for at least a month of it, I am. Right. And I'm attempting to.
Yes. And so you're not only, okay, so let's talk about the mental load, the physical load, emotional load of all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine, tell me if I'm wrong, you're trying to manage a team.
Yes.
You're trying to perform to goals because you're still in a sales org.
Yes.
You're, and that has a lot of challenges on its own if you're not familiar with managing sales orgs.
Yeah.
Performance of each of your reps and potentially managing them out and, hiring new reps or not
and also
performing to plan.
I'm working under a new leader, right? So I'm adapting to managing up in a new way.
Yes. And what was your role at that point? You were director, VP,
so at Salesforce, I was considered to be a sales manager.
Okay.
And I was managing a team of 10.
Okay. Individual contributor
salespeople. Yeah. And so I stayed trying to balance working and doing all this for about 3.5 weeks.
Okay.
And then I was like,
no,
I just can't do this. Yep. But I also, again, I really struggled. That was me trying to power through. And I was really struggling with, how do I, is it okay for me to take another leave? I felt so guilty. Mm-hmm. I felt like a complete failure.
Yep.
And because the recovery from the heart surgery itself is pretty brief. It's a very simple procedure, but it was a matter of the load of trying to find the right doctor because
Yeah.
it's only been a non-invasive procedure for about 10 years. So there's trying to find the right doctor to do it, because if it gets messed up,
Yeah.
then you do have to have a major open heart surgery.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yep.
There's also the mental load of, okay, so if I'm going out on leave, it needs to actually be for mental health reasons if I need to have more time than just the quote recovery time.
Mm-hmm.
This is the other thing about our system in America is like when you're getting signed out for a leave of absence, unless you are signed out by a doctor for emotional distress, like it's not. If I were to be signed out for just my heart condition, they would have signed me out maybe for a month and that's it. And then you're immediately back into it. But that completely ignores all of the mental and emotional burdens that go with this whole situation. Of did I have a stroke? Did I not? What's happening? And our culture is just very adamant that you fix it and jump back in.
Yep.
Thankfully, I work for a company that, my doctor ended up writing me out for a little longer so I could have more time for all that other stuff too.
Yeah.
And thank God, because I went into a really dark depression. But then I really just started thinking about, and I went into a dark depression, and I realized, during that time too, I just didn't know how to. I didn't know how to cope. I felt like I had a real like identity crisis as a result of it.
What were some of your thoughts in in depression? Were you thinking about like perception of others? What's going on with my body? What does my future look like? Like, what were some things that you think were maybe driving you further down? And did you go to therapy or anything, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I did start going to therapy.
Good for you.
It was a lot of realizing that I tied my worth to my output. And when I was not feeling physically capable of that output, I really had a hard time. And honestly, it was fueled by a lot of resentment towards my own body. Resentment towards my own shortcomings.
Yeah.
What felt like shortcomings.
Yep.
Because my mind was like, let's get after it, right? So it was a lot of resentment. Resentment is the best word I could think of.
Well, because you're an athlete, you're running track, you're doing all these amazing things, and you're going into these high, power roles and influence, and then you're just not able to do it anymore. And so the pattern of your life has been, I can do it. Of course I can do it. And I can show myself over and over again, I can do it. Now my body is telling me something completely opposite from what I've been told before.
Absolutely.
And I have to listen to it, or I'm going to have severe health complications.
I just was really mad at my body.
Yeah.
I felt so broken. I felt really broken.
Yeah.
As a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you took the leave.
I took the leave. And I did a lot of like introspection about what does work look like when I go back, because the conclusion that every doctor had for me during this time was, because everyone's trying to figure out, why did this happen? And no one will ever fully understand or know for sure pinpointing the reason for it.
Yeah.
We found out through this process, obviously I had the PFO. I found out when I was pregnant that I was a carrier for a blood condition.
Oh, that's fun.
Yay. Let's add that on. So, but these are all like little things that like slightly elevate risks of certain things.
Sure.
But the doctors by and large kept saying like, your lifestyle is a big problem here. You have got to figure out how to manage your stress. But your stress is single-handedly contributing to these health issues that you have.
But like, I think the problem with our system right now is that medical doctors are trained to do so much and know so much. Yeah. Because you and I have talked through even my health scare. Yeah. And they're like, you need to de-stress. I'm like, well, how the hell do I do that? Tell me. And so you were talking about like, listen to the Calm app, or, doing like, we have to blindly walk our way through? Like, how did you de-stress? How did you figure out what to do? What did you try?
I got really good on my leave. And this is one of the things that was a huge blessing out of taking a little bit more time than was needed for physical recovery, is that I really invested in mental recovery and trying to start prioritizing some of those different tools.
Yeah.
Things like walking every day.
Okay.
Even if it's not a long walk, just
Yeah.
walking every day. And
outside on a walking pad?
Outside.
Okay.
Not inside.
Okay.
Outside.
Yeah. Away from your desk.
Away from your desk, out in the open air.
Mm-hmm.
Things like, I do love the Calm app.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of the Calm app. My kids love it too.
Yeah.
This is not a paid ad. 10 out of 10, the Calm app. But it could be.
Hit her up.
I love the Calm app.
Yeah.
Best $100 a year that we spend.
Yeah.
But those were some of the biggest things. And I think I tried to start investing in meditation. Now, I wasn't meditating every day.
Yeah.
But meditating a few times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that became like a mode of self-care for me, and I didn't do this during the day, I would do it at night before I went to bed, was reading fiction. And this was something that my husband challenged me to do, because I was always the reader that my reading had to feel productive.
Oh God, same.
It had to be self-help, personal or professional development.
Yep.
Like, if it's not one of those things, like, it's a waste of my time. And my husband was like, what if you just like read for fun? And I was like, what? What is that? So I just started reading. Someone handed me a Colleen Hoover novel, and that was a first time, last time for me. Love all of you Colleen Hoover fans.
Wait, which one is it?
It Ends With Us.
Oh, I can't. I cannot.
I have so many friends that love Colleen Hoover, and I will tell you, that book, I could not put it down.
Really?
But I couldn't wait for it to be over.
Okay, let me tell you, I think we talked about this. For those who are listening, my first Colleen Hoover book was Verity.
Oh,
but
I won't read it. I
couldn't put the same thing. I couldn't put it down, and I could not wait for it to end. And I really morally struggled towards the end. Should I finish this book? And should I read the epilogue? Then, I mean, now I kind of want to see the show, the movie when Anne Hathaway.
Not Anne Hathaway. Blake Lively.
No, not that one. I don't want to watch that.
Verity is with
Anne
Hathaway.
Yeah.
Yes. But anyway, that opened this door for me for like, oh, reading can be enjoyable.
Yes.
And then I started reading. I would read either at night before bed, or I'd wake up half an hour early and not look at my phone, and I wouldn't meditate. I wouldn't journal. I would literally have a hot cup of coffee and 20 minutes of a book.
Oh, I love that.
I'm telling you guys, if you are or are not a reader, do not discount the early morning read. Yeah. I know you do an early morning read too now and
Sometimes
again.
I do early morning read. Sometimes I do it before bed instead of a show, because it actually makes me really sleepy.
Oh, yeah.
Or I'll sit in the middle of the day, because I really want to model to my kids that you don't always have to be watching a show or whatever, that you can just sit and read, which has actually been really beneficial for my kids. Let me pause. My middle really loves to read now. She's like really caught the bug. Yeah. And I do believe it's because every once in a while I'll sit on the couch with my book and say, hey, come read with me, grab your book. Let's just snuggle together and sit and read. But anyway.
So I have a thought on that. And I think this kind of like, well, maybe we can put a pin in that.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something really important that you said there. And it's actually really relevant to all of us as humans, which is, if we want to see behavioral change happening in others, we need to be aware of the way that we are acting.
Yep.
What we model for those around us, has far deeper implications than what we tell people to do. So I know that's a parenting hack, but it's also like true in the workplace and just in life, right?
Yeah. You and I have had many conversations. Yeah. I'm in the parking lot of daycare, and we're talking about like, what am I going to do? I'm a brand new manager. I was managing a team of 6, and I'm like, I still want to take time off, but just because I'm a manager now doesn't mean that I can't. Right. So you had a very profound thing that you said to me. It was profound to me. It might not be.
Ooh, what did I say? What did I say?
So many things. Um, but you did say to me, your company may never adopt this mindset. They might always be a hustle culture, but you as an individual can impact your nuclear family and your nuclear team. And if you set an example of, I'm taking time off to recharge, I will not be reachable. Here's who you can talk to in my absence. Sidebar, they should be able to function without you for one day or a week. You explain to them, I'm going to be gone. I'm going to do this.
Set up the parameters. Exactly. Like set everyone up for success.
Yes. Set them up for success.
Set it up so they don't have to come to you.
Yes. And say, you will not be able to reach me on my phone or whatever. There are I believe some times where you have to be available because, you know, whatever. However, when it's, PTO, I'm taking this time off, you're then influencing your team towards healthy behavior.
Yes.
And you may not be changing the entire way that your whole company sees PTO and healthy boundaries, but you can influence those around you. And then in turn, you influence their families and give their families more peace, more bandwidth, more, rest, whatever. And that was so impactful for me because I'm like I can sit here and see what is happening in the future. And like, I want to get from A to Z really fast. And I want to have as much impact and reach as I can. And that's just not doable.
Yeah.
And so when I thought about that and I thought about the ripple effect that it has on others, then I was like, yeah, that's a boundary I can hold. That's something I can do for myself.
Yeah.
Like I can definitely take that time off.
I used to say to my team, my number one goal as your leader is to make you the most effective self-managing individuals possible.
Yes.
Like I shouldn't have to manage you.
No. Ugh.
You know what I mean? Like you can manage you.
Yes.
But,
I want to challenge you.
Let me teach you the tools to manage you.
Yes.
I should say, by the way, after my leave of absence, I went back to work and I thought I was going to pivot my career direction away from sales. So I applied for a VP title. And I also was kind of pursuing like a internal coaching role kind of within enablement on the side. And I got the VP role. And so I took it.
Of course.
And,
I mean, not of course, because I'm sure at that point you're deciding.
I'm deciding. But I took the VP title and I stuck it out. So a lot of people say like, this was my wake up call, right? But I want to be clear. Like sometimes you don't realize something is your wake up call until years after.
Totally.
And for me, my wake up call didn't actually wake me up until 2023. And the episode happened in 2021.
Yeah.
So I still stuck it out for 2 years. And honestly, like I think, and then to be honest and frank with you, you asked the question about when did you start thinking about this idea of chronic stress addiction? I didn't really understand what that was. I had a kind of epiphany moment with that.
Yeah.
After I left my job.
Okay.
And went out on my own to start my own business.
Because you could see the difference?
Because I had this day, I'm starting my own business, right? I have no clients at this point. I am my own boss.
Yep.
I control my own life.
Yeah.
And my husband looked at me and asked if I could go to lunch with him one day for work. I was like, oh, I just can't. I've got this call and this call. He's like, why is your calendar so full?
Sorry, can we go get lunch or not?
Like,
you're
your
own
calendar
boss.
this full, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of was thinking through it and it was like, oh, I took away a big piece of something and then I just piled on.
Yep.
PTA committee head, garden parent for my kids' class.
We talked one time when you were like deep into literally unloading soil.
Oh my God.
What
am I doing? Like coaching soccer, leading the Girl Scout troop. Plus I join a mastermind group that has times meeting. I decided to go back to school to become a coach.
Yep.
So
getting
that was and that's when I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Right? That's the wake up call. And that's like honestly that's when it was really like, oh, a lot of this burnout. Yes, a lot of this burnout is fueled by hustle culture. But that's when I started to have this awakening of There is a specific type of person that thrives in high stress environments, that loves the grind, that is driven, ambitious. And we are like corporate America, they know how to spot us and they nag onto us and we feed off of that culture. And our biggest strengths become our kryptonite. We don't know how to stop.
Well, because like you were saying, you get those hits of dopamine of like,
absolutely.
Oh, way to go. You closed the sale. Here's some money. And you're like, yes.
That's right.
Like that's
right.
great. Look at how good I am at my job, or look how my team performed this month.
That's right.
Amazing.
Or even like I have a day that's like back to back to back with meetings and it's totally exhausting, but I'm like, when I would have those days that I wasn't back to back, I'd be like, what am I even doing with myself?
Yeah.
Right. So that was pretty eye-opening for me to realize that it's not just about the exercise. It's not just about the meditation. It's not just about the boundaries that you set at work. It's what are you doing with those things that are in your life? If you're taking the PTO, but all you're thinking about while on PTO is work, that is not rest.
Yeah.
That isn't rest.
No.
It's what's going on up here that we forget is so important to true recovery. And that's where the stress addiction comes in. And a lot of times, like any other addiction, it's not intentional, but it's more mental when it comes to the cycle of self-worth that it's feeding.
And you have to do a lot of internal work for that too.
So much inner work.
To be able to transition to a place where you can actually enjoy or sit in free time, open time. That for me, I know that when I was able to cross that threshold, then I started to like tap into creativity more.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes. Like it was either like creating things with my hands or thinking creatively. And that was like such a breath of life for me.
Yes.
Because you and I are both very creative. We love a good Dollar Tree craft. We love anything we can make with our hands. But
that's the other thing I did during COVID to cope. Speaking of creativity, you and I did this together.
What did we do?
We got into sourdough. We started the starterhood.
Yes, we did.
With our crew.
Yes, we did. We had a whole group chat and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. Gardening, all that stuff. Yes. Creativity is also one of the antidotes for burnout, right?
Yeah.
Is deep, meaningful creativity that is not tied to work.
Yeah. And it does not have to be creativity, by the way. It does not have to be crafting.
No.
Or art.
It can be something that's creative thinking. I read this book, and I read this shortly after I had left my job. It's called The 5 Types of Wealth. Have you heard of this?
No. I'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah, but he talks about, I looked it up because I was trying to remember, there's 5 types of wealth. We all talk about financial wealth, but there's also time wealth, social wealth, mental wealth, and physical wealth. And if you think about it, if your parents are 65 and you don't live close to them, but you see them for a holiday every year, that means based on life expectancy, you have roughly 20 Christmases left with your parents.
Oh, don't say that.
Seriously.
You're right.
Right? Let's say your parents live close by and you see them once a week, right? That means you have roughly 1,000 days left with them.
Yeah.
If your parents are 65.
Yeah.
And that woke me up because it's like, okay, I had pretty good financial wealth with my previous job. I had really great social wealth, but it was all tied to work, right? And
yeah, let's talk about that in a little bit too.
Yeah.
The work social wealth.
Yeah. Okay, but my mental, emotional, and like and my time wealth was just, what was I doing with that time? I was obsessing over the next best thing, right?
Yeah. So then you took your own step into being an entrepreneur to launching your business, C2IT Partners.
That's it.
Tell me why C2IT? C with a C like Casey.
C like Casey. C2 like Casey Calkins.
Two C's.
Two C's.
Got
but
it.
C2, C the number 2, it. Some people say C2IT. I was like, no. C2IT. There is
not IT here.
There is a C2IT, believe it or not.
No.
But we are different because we are C2IT Partners.
Okay.
There is a really interesting story and quote from an author. Her name is Octavia Butler. She wrote sci-fi, not my genre. But she had something when she was a girl, she wrote in her journal that she was manifesting that she would be a best-selling author one day. And at the end of her journal entry, she wrote, "So be it, see to it."
Ooh.
Like, let's get after it, right?
Yeah.
And I really
That fits you.
resonate with that sentiment. And so I wanted it to be kind of a tongue-in-cheek ode to that. And I think it can embody me, but also it's bigger than me with the name. A lot of people just do like insert name coaching, and I didn't want it to be my name coaching.
I like that. There's purpose behind it. I don't think I've told this story before, but Casey has been an instrumental part of me launching the podcast and just thinking of how I want this community to function and what value I want to provide. And a lot of the motivation and encouragement that you give is very much pushing me or anyone else that you've coached towards seeing to their goals, getting to their goals, and taking leaps and taking the next best step and being brave, even though you're scared, and still being encouraging and gracious when those steps may not be taken.
Yeah.
But I really like the heart behind that.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you have now in this new era, like more of a peace?
Entrepreneur era?
Yeah.
Like I'm Taylor Swift?
Exactly. Do you feel more peace? Do you feel okay? Like just in general?
I am happier than I have been in a really long time.
I love that.
I have intentional time with my kids where I'm actually focused with them. And that's not to say I'm perfect. I still slip into these moments now and again of like thinking about work when I'm with them. But
Yeah.
the difference is now, it's just me. I don't feel it can get really hard when you are setting a boundary over and over again and you feel like you're the only one setting that boundary.
Yeah.
That gets really difficult after a while, and I can empathize with that. And I think when I coach people in their career too, and it's, if you're in a phase where you have to first know thyself, right?
Sure.
And when you know yourself and you know how you want to operate and how you want your nuclear family and your nuclear team to operate, when it gets really hard is after a while you're chronically feeling like the only one doing that. And I didn't always feel that way at Salesforce. I want to be clear. Like, it went through waves because it's a huge company and different teams have different cultures of their own too. And I want to be really clear that like my years at Salesforce were some of the best years of my life. I was super pumped to be there. I had a blast. I feel like I got an MBA. I still am in touch with some incredible leaders, and I am still in touch with my leader right before I left. She is someone that I consider a mentor. It's just, you realize when you belong to yourself first, that there are certain things that if they're operating in a way that doesn't align to what you value, that it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Right. And I was at this place where my values were, family, making an impact, and contributing and giving back to the world. And I was in a place with my work where I didn't feel like I was doing those things. But yeah, I now feel like I am doing those things. And here's the thing. I am not making nearly as much money as I made there. I'm going to be totally transparent about that. I was, like I said, I was in a financially great spot when I was there. But I believe that I'm rebuilding towards that. And I know that it'll come in time. And for this season, my family time, my emotional wealth, my mental wealth, my time wealth are more of a priority. I really, it's opened my eyes to the paradox of security, risk, and wealth. We talked about wealth and the different types of wealth, but also I think anyone who's been impacted by a RIF or a layoff knows you can feel as secure as you want in your job.
Yep.
But like it's only secure.
You.
It's only secure to a certain point.
Yep.
For a lot of people, entrepreneurship actually feels more secure because you're in control of your own destiny.
Yep.
And that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
The autonomy side of things gives me a lot of security.
Yeah.
And of course there's trade-offs, right? Like we're dealing with all of the BS of being a small business owner, and I have to pay a lot of money for health insurance.
Yeah.
This country does not make it easy to pay for health insurance out of pocket.
Yeah.
They don't.
Especially for business owners.
No, it's rough.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's encouraging to hear because I feel like a lot of us are looking for, I know that my audience is looking for like a reason to let go of the guilt and to feel more peace. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to downshift. It doesn't mean that you need to be an entrepreneur, but it could mean that you take a look at the activities that you're involved in, that you're looking at your meeting schedule from day to day. You're looking at different parts of your life that maybe you can scale back a bit or just really reevaluate and say, is this serving me well? Is this putting like into my buckets of wealth? You had mentioned social wealth and, your coworkers and having that social wealth at work. And I think this also like plays into either you choose to leave your job or you're asked to leave your job in one way or another. And what you thought was your social group or community then becomes non-existent and you have no contact with those people. And I know for me, I was like, where is everybody? Like there's a handful of people that'll reach out and they're genuinely, wanting to connect and stay connected. But then, you don't have contact with those people anymore or support from those people. Did you feel that
100%?
At all?
I think, there's the old adage that friendships happen for a reason, a season, and a lifetime.
Okay.
I think throughout every phase of our life, we love to think that every dear friendship is a lifetime friendship.
Sure.
And then we always have this wake up call that realizes that maybe that was a season or a reason friendship. And I think the hard thing to accept is it is very possible, and it's not your own doing or your own fault, that those friendships will be season friendships or reason friendships and not lifetime friendships. That was hard for me.
Yeah.
And I took it personally for a while, thinking like, ugh, I keep trying to grab coffee with so-and-so and we just can't get a time. And then it's like, okay, wait, let me put myself back in their shoes. How often was I grabbing coffee with people that I didn't work with?
Yes.
And the answer is rare, rare. So if you're not in the day-to-day world, it's really hard to find the time outside of it.
Yeah.
For fostering those types of relationships.
Yeah. It makes me think about when I was teaching in first grade, one of the moms came up to me and said, you have my daughter for the best 8 hours of her day. Tell me about it, in a parent conference. What is, cause I know that I get the burnt ends, the terrible part of it when she comes down and melts down at home and stuff. Tell me the story of who she is in this class. Yeah. And it makes me think about friendships at work, is that our best 8 hours of the day are spent with these people. So of course we're making friendships with them. Yeah. We crave community as humans.
Yeah.
So losing that then feels like does feel like a significant loss, because the playing field is different now. You're in maybe different situations, or your time looks different now. Yeah. But yeah, I think
but what's interesting is if you invest in like your social wealth, the friendships just change, right? Yeah. I have friendships with moms from my kids' school. I know so many more parents at my kids' school now.
Yeah.
I had no idea how few parents I actually knew from school, because I'd only see them at drop off or pickup. And now I like go walking with them. Yeah. It's like, what? I'm going walking with other moms? What is this life? And we're doing it at 6 a.m. But the thing is, I didn't have the time to make that friendship, to be able to have the connection to coordinate the walk at 6 a.m. Right. So yeah, it just shifts.
Yeah.
But it's a little jarring at first.
Yeah. I think something that I tried to do was, I noticed that my middle was having a hard time with friendships. My first is very loyal, that she's sweet, but she's loyal to a very few amount of friends. And there's a lot of good in that. There's some downside to that. My middle is friends with everyone, but doesn't perceive everyone being friends with her. She doesn't realize the impact she has on people and that they really enjoy being around her. So part of my effort this last year was to get her involved in communities within her school so that she could expand her friendship groups. Yeah. And so, we were part of Girl Scouts, which was huge. It was so wonderful. Those kids were so kind. And I got to know a lot of the moms because I just showed up to the meetings.
That's
I made
right.
sure that I just went. I wasn't the leader, but I just went to the meetings.
You were the cookie parent.
Oh God,
it's a big job.
Don't do it. There's a special place in heaven for cookie coordinators. But I would say, like, that's another thing that you can do to really get to know the other parents,
Right.
you know, or like host a giant play date, you know, once a quarter at your house and sit and have and just actually talk with the parents and make it easy for your kids to grab snacks and everybody to entertain themselves. And then you can have time to meet the parents, because sometimes you're right. Like in my family, my husband drops my kids off at school. I don't see parents that drop off, hardly ever.
Yeah.
And then it dwindles when you start to get to the drop off out of the car.
Yep.
And you don't get out of your car to sit and chat, you know. You then you're at pickup, you get there at pickup and it's either chaos and you're out of your car, or they're jumping in the car and you're leaving. And you know, you've got like after school activities and things, don't really have a chance to talk to them then. Or you've got kids in aftercare and you're coming super late at night and you're probably the only thing on your mind is, what are we going to eat for dinner? I'm exhausted.
Exactly.
I got to get these kids home. You know, I got to maximize my time with them for the little amount of hours that we have.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Either way.
All right. So I want to go through a rapid fire with you, but I want to hear what you're doing with your work now. You're building some really incredible coursework, I know, and I want you to tell everybody about it.
Give a little commercial?
Really yes.
Okay. I'll give a commercial.
Okay.
Here's the thing. If you're considering entrepreneurship, I want to say with earnest, it is okay to pivot and pivot directions multiple times.
Yes.
So I have pivoted a lot over the course of the last year and a half. I initially started, and I learned what I wanted to do with my business by saying yes to what came my way. And that's how I learned what my no's were, right? So I did primarily business consulting in the first year, which was awesome. I got to do it felt a lot like what I was doing working with customers at Salesforce.
Cool.
So I felt like I was good at it, right? But I was getting a lot more, and I also went back to school for coaching. So I was also doing individual coaching, mostly for leaders and career coaching.
Yep.
And I was really interested and intrigued that when I thought about what brought me the most joy during my years as a leader, and also what I was observing with all these other clients, it was, I really loved mentoring and coaching new leaders. I had a reputation in some of my previous jobs as being like the work mom, you know. You know, people talk about their work bestie or their work wife or their work husband. I was like the work mom for everybody, even before I was a mom. But I loved that. Like I could be the one that people would come to when they were like, am I allowed to curse? I was just about to curse. You know, like when people are like, holy shit, I have to deliver my first PIP and I don't know what to say. Because here's the deal. HR will help you with outlining everything, and they might give you some help with what to say, but like they don't sit in your shoes. They don't know what that's like, right? Or like for my mom listening, right? My mom too.
Grandy and Christy. Well, Cheryl and Christy. A PIP is a performance and
improvement
plan. Which usually means somebody is not performing well in their job and they either need to kick it up a notch and get back on track, or they're out of there in a certain amount of time.
Or yes. So, you know, how do I do that? Or, gosh, even like I'm going into my first one-on-one. What the heck am I doing? Or running ragged and not knowing, like head on a swivel so much that you're just running completely ragged. And how do I manage this? Or I'm now in charge of my former work bestie.
Ugh, that's a hard one.
That's a hard one.
Yes.
Like I'm the one in charge, but they were my buddy. Like, how do I do that? And there's also other things like, oh my gosh, from the top, we have this whole new initiative. How are you going to get people to do this? Right. So I am now really focused on working with executives and leaders on enablement programs, workshops, keynotes, and I'm also building a course that will be an intimate cohort for trying to build up frontline leaders, not just in sales, but people who are managing. Because fun fact, according to McKinsey, between 65 and 75% of any company's workforce is directly managed by a frontline manager.
Wow.
Because the bulk of most companies are individual contributors.
Yeah.
And the ironic part about that is that demographic of person is usually promoted into that job without any real people leadership training.
Yes. Because they were the best performer.
They were the best performer. So go teach someone else how to do it. But we all know that being a teacher is very different than being an individual performer, right? So I teach things like, I have this kind of method. It's funny you said ripple effect, because I've developed kind of this philosophy for my business called the leadership ripple effect, the leader ripple effect.
Yeah.
You are at the center of everything around you.
Yeah.
So how you regulate your emotions, how you show up, how you model behavior, the awareness you have of yourself and the impact of the world around you. You may not realize that you are unintentionally fueling a burnout culture, and you think you're just being a hustler.
Yeah.
Right. And your intentions are really good. You're telling people to take PTO, but if you're not taking PTO yourself, that's a problem. You're telling people to not work after hours, but if you're the one sending emails at 9 p.m., that's sending a very subtle and important message, right? So I teach courses on all of I call it kind of the EQ edge. So it's all emotional intelligence. People assume emotional intelligence is just empathy, but that's only one piece of the psychological research on what EQ actually is. Emotional intelligence is also self-awareness practices, emotional regulation practices, communication effectiveness. That's where some of the empathy comes into play, is how you can be effective in how you are interacting with the person across from you, as well as social awareness. So reading, engaging the temperature of a room. Yeah. And like how you can, like, I actually was just thinking of this analogy this morning. A lot of managers don't realize how much they are the temperature regulators for a room.
Yeah.
So if you're walking into a team meeting and everybody is hot, right? It is hot. And you come in, you know, you need to cool the room down, and you come in with a freaking big ass fan, right? Like an industrial fan in those like CrossFit gyms, people are going to be blown away, right? So in the same vein, if you're coming into a room that is hot and negative and people are really frustrated with change management and what's happening, the way to not show up is being toxically positive and not acknowledging that there are problems and difficulties and hardships. Inversely, you don't want to come in with a freaking space heater if it's already hot and come in being like, oh, I know this is so awful, isn't it? Right? So that's the other direction a lot of people come into. So it's that kind of thing that I work with managers on. A lot of the leadership strategies that are not addressed by most enablement programs at companies.
Yeah. Okay. So who is this targeted towards? Who can join this cohort?
So the cohort is in the works right now, the cohort program, which will be a 10-week program. And it'll be a combination of group coaching as well as a couple of one-on-one sessions too.
Okay.
It's going to be between 8 and 10 weeks in length, probably launching in early Q2 of next year.
Okay.
There's going to be more to come on it. It's designed for high achievers that would consider themselves a leader in the business, even if they don't have a leadership title.
Okay.
As well as frontline managers.
Okay.
So either executives at companies can nominate their top high potential talent or their top performing leaders that they want to invest in, or individuals can become a part of it themselves.
Okay. So if somebody's interested for their organization or individual themselves, like you mentioned, they could be in a leadership role, but not with the title, that type of thing. How can they contact you? Where can they find you online?
Honestly, the best place to find me, you can go to C2ITPartners.com. The other place you can go is I'm very active on LinkedIn. So give me a follow on LinkedIn and I'll be posting more details there.
You post such great stuff on LinkedIn, by the way. What an excellent follow you are.
Thank you. I'd like to be, it's funny. LinkedIn's a weird place.
It is.
I get people a lot of times in person telling me that they love my content, but like the amount of people that I'm like, I haven't seen any comments. You as a content creator, you're fueled by engagement. But I have to remember they talk a lot about how LinkedIn is a place where people lurk a lot more than other social platforms, meaning they'll read things but not interact with it, right? But thank you. That means a lot.
So C2ITPartners.com. And they can find you on Instagram at C2IT Partners.
At C2IT Partners.
Remember C, the number 2.
The letter C, number 2, IT Partners. Or on Instagram, Casey Calkins, Calkins.
Okay.
Give me a follow and I'll keep you up to speed. These are going to be very intimate and that's intentional. I don't want this to be like I get 10 leaders from one company there. I would probably divide it up because I want to have a lot of psychological safety. So if a company is interested in having leaders join, I would probably say I don't want more than 2 to 3 from their company.
That makes sense.
Because I want to cap it at, I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to get this many people. It'll be my first cohort. Real talk, when you're starting a business, like,
it's true. Keeping it real.
Like my goal is for it to be anywhere from 4 to 20 people per cohort and no more than that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of value in that. Casey led a really cool webinar about AI, and was it in sales? I forget.
AI and leadership.
AI and leadership. I went to it. If you ever offer it again, we have to tell everyone because it was amazing. But
okay.
I really loved the way that you talked to us about interacting with, AI like Claude or, ChatGPT and using it to our advantage. But also, I think the most valuable thing was to listen to other leaders in that webinar, ask questions and their different perspectives. Goal. Yes. And so I was thinking about that. Like,
we had about 15 people on that.
Yeah, that was great.
I am not. Listen, I love to speak. I love a stage. Give me a stage. However,
you also did a really good job of letting people take the stage.
I want people to take
webinar.
But I want people to take the mic.
Yeah.
I am far more fueled by a workshop.
Yes.
Where I can pass the mic around than I am by being literally on a stage in front of a bunch of people and talking at others. And part of that is because like I am very validated by direct social feedback from other people. That's part of it.
Yeah.
But also it just feels like it's more productive for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hearing one voice all the time is like, bleh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So watch me snooze over here. All right. So I'll put in the show notes where you can reach her and we will announce to the community when you have it launched. Q2 at beginning of Q2 is not too far away. We're closing out Q4 right now.
I know. And also, but mainly what I'm working on right now. So I'm developing that to try and launch mid-year next year. Until then, I also am doing a lot of workshops for teams.
Okay.
We're in the season where it's like kickoff season for a lot of people.
Yep.
Where we're coming to the end of the year and we're planning for kicking off next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I have quite a few people that are having me just do like workshops with just their team.
Mm-hmm. And you have some speaking events for sales kickoffs and things like that. Yeah. So if you want to book her for your sales kickoff, you would be an excellent speaker for that.
That's kind of you. Thank you.
You can email her, call her.
It was a long commercial.
But it's good. It's a great resource. There's a lot of people out there that don't know where to start or may feel embarrassed to say, I need help. I'm a new manager, or, hey, something's not right in my org. I need someone to come in and really just like fuel my team, help them from a different perspective. I think, being able to observe that and then reach out for help from someone who has such vast experience is really wise and very helpful for the longevity of a company.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. You ready for rapid fire?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's try and have fun with this one.
Okay.
Stress, you fill in the blank. Stress is
inevitable.
Ooh. Hustle culture is
toxic.
Rest is
necessary.
The most dangerous lie women believe is ooh.
They are not enough.
Ooh, that's a good one. The boundary I will never break again is
oh man. Putting my identity in my work.
Oh.
Never break again. Still working on that, but that's what I'm trying to break.
Okay.
Boundary between my work and who I am.
Okay. The version of me that burned out almost destroyed me, but she also.
These are deep, Natalie. Found a much deeper, more beautiful purpose in her life.
I love that so much. Are we crying? Damn it. I forgot to hold my finger.
I thought this was
hold my finger like Ariana and Cynthia. We're having a wicked moment.
I thought that this was going to be like rapid fire, like
All right. How about this? Favorite cozy beverage?
Oh God, right now, a cardamom latte, and it's from High Tide Coffee.
I've had that. It's so good.
So good.
You have your choice of any little treat in the afternoon. What are you choosing?
Ooh, presently, something out of my kids' Halloween candy.
Ooh.
Like, I'm not normally a little treat person. Like, I'm going to go out and buy a little treat, but I am going to sneak a little treat from my house.
Be real. Is it going to be eaten in the pantry, or are you just
absolutely in the pantry? For those of you who don't know me, when I redid my kitchen, I intentionally built a walk-in pantry that is mommy's quiet space. Where I go on timeout and so do my kids.
Perfect. Yeah. The underrated putting yourself in timeout. We'll have to do
put myself on timeout a lot.
Yeah.
No joke. When I feel my like self-escalating.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I need to go on a timeout. I'll just cruise into the pantry. I've done, snacks, chips. Love some chips. Also, actually, my favorite little treat that I like to pretty much always have on hand that I bake most Sundays. And a lot of this is fueled by the fact that, I don't know about you, but whenever I buy bananas, 90% of them
Come on, Costco,
go
give
black.
Me a break. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, immediately.
Joanna Gaines banana bread recipe.
Oh, that is so good. I'm gonna post a link to that in the show notes because it's delish.
And the key is that you make it in an 8x8 pan.
Yes. I was like, this feels wrong. It's not in a bread pan. But then she also sprinkles sugar.
The sugar on top.
It's like magic.
And you use salted butter.
Yes.
So that recipe, I actually pretty much know by heart, and I make that pretty much weekly, and I always have it. So that is a little treat. Sometimes if you want to like have a little more salty, I'll put a little bit of peanut butter on it.
And that is our show. Just kidding. Casey, thank you so much for coming today. I am so proud of you and how you just show up every day and try so hard to be authentically yourself. And your impact on others is incredible. And I'm so proud of you for listening to as silly as it is, like you're listening to your heart and going after what you feel is the next chapter of your life and your impact. It's really fun to see you thriving in that. And then also to watch how you're impacting your family, your husband, your kids, and your friends in turn because of those choices that you're making. So I love you.
Love you too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for being my first guest.
Yeah, so excited. Okay. I want to come back and I want to play podcast again with you.
Yes. I love it. All right, everyone. Thanks for coming today. I hope your coffee didn't get cold while we were chatting. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You know where to find me. Drop me a follow if you want to see more episodes. You can find me on Apple and Spotify, and you can find Casey at all the places mentioned in the show notes. Otherwise, have a great day. See you later.